Wouldn't do you any good, Larry. The drink's not going to help any. Magic juice, man. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So welcome everybody to my Thursday 30 webinar. This week I'm going to be talking about email marketing, and having an email marketing list is such an important part. You know, it's the one thing that people, we think, well, it's email marketing. Gee, that's, you know, what's the big deal about that? Well, the big deal is it's the one thing you still control. You know, you don't control social media. You don't control Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter or any of those sites. They're all, if they decide to change, if there's up to a whim of any of the platforms to change what they're doing, and you've got a lot of stuff invested in there, you could lose that. And so email marketing is the one thing that you can be assured is still going to be consistent. You can email people and they still will see it. And I'll show you some stats and figures that I think you'll find really, really interesting. So why email marketing? Well, here's some numbers right here as far as the return on investment goes. So email marketing will return 73% of your investment, as opposed to search engine optimization, or as opposed to content marketing, your website, even pay-per-click advertising. All of those things have less return than email marketing does. So for that alone gives you a good reason for that. But it, like I said, it's the one thing that you control. For every dollar you spend on an email marketing campaign, expect a return of 51 bucks. That, again, is an awfully large number there. So 90% of adults still use email regularly. And I probably should have shared my screen here. That would have made it easier for you to see this. Here we go. Okay. So there's the graph on as far as return on investment. You'll see the 73% for email, down to 59% for pay-per-click. So much more effective. Companies that use email marketing generate 50% more leads, and email is proven to be 40 times more effective than Facebook. So those are reasons enough that we should be still thinking about email marketing as an important piece of what we're doing. But the return on investment is what's so critical. You know, the return that we get from an email marketing campaign is just staggering. There are several email marketing programs out there that you can use. All of them have pluses and minuses. I've used all three of these before. So you can, some of you may have your own CRM, your own customer relation management software. Maybe some of you may be using a HubSpot or a Salesforce or something like that. But for most people, you know, you probably want to set up your own, because those can get a little pricey. MailChimp is a good starter program. It'll handle up to 2,000 emails for free. You can 2,000 subscribers for free. You have some limited functionality with what it can do, but by the same token, it has some. It's a great program to start with, and then if you get beyond that, you're going to be up in the range of 40, 50 bucks a month for MailChimp after you get beyond that. But you can email as often as you want. It's just based on the number of subscribers that you have, as are all of these. Constant Contact is another one. It has a lot more features. It has some great functions. I liked Constant Contact for many years because of the fact that I could, when I did events, live events, and I wanted to sell tickets to it, I could do that through Constant Contact. And it was, you know, they did it through PayPal, so there was not a third party. I didn't have to worry about doing Eventbrite or something like that too. But Constant Contact does a wonderful job. And then the other one that I've used is Aweber. And that Aweber is probably one of the best ones from a standpoint of creating autoresponders. and we'll talk about what a drip campaign and the autoresponders can do. But all three of these are great, great programs. And there's others out there. These are just the three that I've used. And typically when somebody's getting started, I steer them to MailChimp to start with, but you can easily, if you've got one of these and you find some features on some of the others that you like, you can usually export and import over into that. So, but those are programs that I recommend anyway. A few do's and don'ts on your email. Don't buy a list. You're not getting engaged subscribers. Other people are going to have the same list, and it's all about engagement. So if you don't have that, if you're buying it just because you think you can get some leads, you generate some leads from it, you're going to be sadly disappointed, because most of the lists are, you don't know how clean they are. You don't know when they were last scrubbed, or how legitimate they are. But furthermore than that, the people on that list gave no indication they were interested in the least in what you do. So, don't buy lists. That's not going to be that's not a good practice. You can import your emails from other sources. So if you've been collecting emails in Gmail forever or in Outlook, you can import those into the mail programs. If you've been collecting business cards and meeting people at offline events, then you can always import all of those in. Those are easy to do. To be safe, you can send an opt-in email before starting a campaign. So if you've got, let's say you have 500 emails you've collected over a period of time, and you want to import those in, send an opt-in email first. Once you do, to say, hey, I'm going to be sending out valuable information. Here's what I'm going to send you. If you don't want to receive this, then you can opt out of that. One of the questions that usually arises, just going back to this particular topic, is, can I just email from my Gmail or from my Outlook? Well, you can, but technically that is in violation of, if you're mass email, of the Canned Spam Act, because number one, you don't give them the option to opt out of that, which is one of the rules and regulations. So you need to have an opt out at the bottom. You need to have a physical address at the bottom of the email. So those are some things that they don't allow. Plus the fact that you can run into problems sending mass email through one of those programs, especially Gmail. So that's just, it's easier to control by with an email marketing program. Don't spam. We know that's kind of a given, but by the same token, it's so tempting to be able to say, well, hey, I've got this, I got a great deal here. Everybody needs my deal. And, I'm just going to keep sending it to them until everybody beat them in submission. Well, you're going to get reported. And then all of a sudden now your email list could get suspended if you're doing a lot of spamming. And it doesn't take much. But the biggest thing you want to do is create content worth reading, because if the content you're sending out is not interesting, is not something anybody wants to see, they're not going to read it anyway. So don't waste your time to create an email just to be sending something out. Create something that's worth reading, that's value information. And so, you want to go beyond what you're doing and kind of be a resource for your clients. Now, how do you build your list? That's always the biggest challenge, is how do you build the list? Well, you want to try to create and utilize the different avenues that you have. You create an opt-in form, put that on your website, put that in, send out a welcome email once you get people to sign up. So you want to try to get people through your website, through your, I'm sorry about these, are for some reason my actions are moving in crazy here. But you want to create an active and engaged list, and you want to get people to subscribe because you've given them some value. You can use this on a blog. You can use it on your website. You can use it in your email, your regular email signature line. So there's a lot of different places where you can capture emails. Once you get your list and once you start get people subscribed, you want to send them a welcome email or a series of emails thanking them for subscribing, delivering on what you promised, set up your expectations, what you're going to provide them, tell them your story, ask them to add you to their whitelist. That's important so it doesn't get caught in spam filter, and give subscribers other ways to reach you. So those are some components of building that list. Well, one of the things that's really key to a successful list is creating a segments. So make your list into by interest, by like features, so that you're sending to the audience you're sending to has gets the message that you're putting out. So if you deal with multiple segments of your business, so if you're dealing with certain types of businesses, maybe you're dealing professionals versus let's say real estate versus lawyers versus small business service businesses. Those might each require a different message than what you're sending out. So think about creating segments of your groups of your audience to send to that audience alone. They may use different jargon, they may use different terminology, they may use different types of voice in the fact that you talk professional, more casual, whatever it might be. So having that segmented list is important. You can segment it by industry, company size, location, sales cycle, where they are in the process. If they are prospects, or if you've got them partially through the sales cycle, you just need to feed them more information. That's why the sales cycle would be there. By occupation, behavior, gender, there's a lot of different ways you can divide that up. So, but think about what makes sense to your audience. You know your audience, or should know your audience. And so look at what your audience is about, and then figure out your message that talks to that audience. And one of the statistics that's interesting, as a result of having the list segmentation, your open rate goes way up over a list that are just broadcast to everyone. Your revenues are in sales leads, deliverability. Those are other things that are increased as you use a segmented list. But the key is you want to get more people to open it. So if you're targeting the audience in the way that they want to hear, then that's really where you should start that. You want to make sure your emails are mobile responsive. Revenue per email on a mobile device is 4 times higher than a desktop. And 55% of smartphone users have made at least one purchase after receiving a mobile promo email. So 4 times higher revenue if it's mobile, but that means you have to make sure your email is designed to fit mobily. You want to create a responsive email design so that it looks well on a phone. You want to keep the subject line short. Again, a long subject line may get cut off on a phone where it wouldn't on a desktop. So you want to keep that subject line short, but very pointed and direct. You want to make your call to action big and obvious. So you want them to, call now, subscribe, schedule, whatever your call to action may be. You want that big and plainly seen on the phone. And the percentage of brands that use that use desktop versus mobile is really significantly different. So geared toward desktop is 44%. Responsive design is 11%. By responsive, I mean it adapts to the visitor or to the browser. It changes based on what they see. So that mobile design is important. So we talked about ways to capture emails, create a landing page. A landing page can be topical. So let's say that you're talking about creating let's say you're talking about a landing page for service-related businesses. And then maybe you're talking about, maybe you want to create a list for professionals, doctors, lawyers, maybe a healthcare field. So you want to you want to create separate landing pages that define what is important to that audience. So now you're talking directly to them. And that's one of the keys, is to get that opt-in, create maybe landing pages. And if you're using WordPress, WordPress is a great tool for that. It lets you can create pages simply. And in some cases with different themes, you can easily clone the page, the landing page, and just change the copy to fit for the audience that you're trying to reach. Your website, the form needs to be prominent on your website. You don't want somebody to have to hunt for it. It should be right on your home page. Your blog, after you've sent somebody information, why not have us ask them to subscribe on the end of the blog? Because you've educated them. And if you've done a good job with that, then they may want to go, yeah, I want to hear more about what you do. This is great stuff. I don't want to miss it. Past clients are always a great source for it. And you never want to overlook them, because keeping your name in front of them is such a critical piece. It's the component that every month you lose a percentage, 10% recognition of if you don't keep in touch with somebody. So over time, they're going to forget who you are. And somebody else may move in and try to take that business over because you haven't stayed in touch. So capturing emails and use your past clients is a great, that's one of the sources you should have. Why should somebody ever give you their email address? This is always the $64,000 question, because it's like, well, I don't want to put my email in because I know you're just going to spam me. And so we're always hesitant. So you've got to create an offer. You've got to create an irresistible offer. The old radio station, WIIFM, what's in it for me? Got to give them some reason to trade their email privacy to you for something of value. So what are you willing to offer in exchange for their email address? Maybe you've got a promo product that you can do. Maybe it's a white page. Maybe it's a how-to. If it's for realtors, for example, they could send a checklist, a buyer's guide checklist, or a seller's guide checklist. For computer repairs, maybe it's a guide to virus removal. Maybe it's an initial cleaning of a review of your site for viruses or security checklists. So there's a lot of things you can do. Think about what you can offer. For me, I offer a guide to your website. So it's kind of like a checklist of everything you need to do for a website. So what can you offer in return? And it needs to be value, and it needs to be geared to their interest. If it's not something they're interested in, they're not going to trade you their email for for what you've got. So it needs to be a value add for them. No selling. Free resource they'll find valuable. If you've got anything salesy in there, they're going to treat that, they're going to look at that as such, and probably remove themselves from your email list. So you can't be selling. And we always look at it from a standpoint, okay, I don't want to, sure, I'm giving away my knowledge. I'm giving away my service. I'm giving away my product. How am I supposed to make any money? But if you give information and your value, they're going to come back to you because they know that you're the resource that you've become the expert that they want to do business with. So don't be afraid of giving away resources for free, because as you saw, the return on investment in the very beginning can be tremendous. Free guides are another great thing you can give away. Free how-tos. So be thinking about what you can do to craft that irresistible offer. One of the things that's effective in email marketing is a drip campaign. And by that, it's an autoresponder. When somebody signs up for your list, they get their welcome email back, and it tells them, here's what I promised you. Here's the free offer. Thank you so much. All that. But then 30 days from now, or whatever interval you want, What if you program out a series of emails that go automatically based on when somebody signs up? So if they sign up now, 30 days from now, you get a second email going, "Hey, here's some value that I have. Here's some tips on what you can do to have an effective social media campaign." And then 30 days later, maybe another email goes, "Hey, here's some tips on what you can do to increase your search engine ranking." So creating that, have that autoresponder where your email program automatically does that for you. It sends those out instantly. You can use it for prospective clients or past clients as well. You keep touch with prospects or past clients so that they don't forget who you are. You want to use evergreen content. And by that, I mean, you don't want to program into that scenario a Happy 4th of July or a Merry Christmas email, because if they sign up for that email, let's say I've got the Merry Christmas to go out on my 6th email, and they sign up in October, they're going to get my Merry Christmas in March. And so you look kind of dumb when you do that. So that's why you want to use content that is not timed in any particular manner. It can go anytime, this year, next year. No time frame is bound to that. So that's what the evergreen content is. You can have it already pre-written and scheduled. So what you want to do when you set this up is sit down on the front end and create those 6, 8, 10 emails that you want to send, have them written out and plug them in the schedule and ready to go. And then the campaign needs to be pertinent to the list segment. We've already talked about that, but I just want to reemphasize that because it's important that you get that campaign to the right list and they're getting the information that they wanted to get. One of the most important pieces of your email is going to be your subject line. That's the hook to get people to read it. 47% of email recipients open based on the subject line. If you don't have a good subject line, there's less chance that they're going to open your email. You also want to personalize the subject line. That improves the click-through rate by 14%, and it's a higher transaction rate. So again, having it automated, and all of the services I talked about, MailChimp, Constant Contact, Aweber, all will offer a personalization. So as you capture their name, it plugs that in for you. So you don't have to worry about doing that, but you want to make sure that you plug that option in so you do have the personalized subject line as well. You want to make people curious with your subject line. We want to be tantalized. What's this all about? Ooh, I got to see more. We want a sense of urgency to trigger the fear of missing out. So if it's like, 3 days left before, and you'll see those all the time in your emails, only, closing in 12 hours. This is closing in 3 days. This is, this offer is going away in. That fear of missing out is what targets people to open that and look at it. Maybe ask a question in your subject line. Questions are always great because it gets people to go, yeah, I got that same question. Tell me how to answer that. And then you can use emojis and symbols in there as well. You have to use those cautiously. Sometimes they can be overused. But again, just you're trying to stand out above all the other thousands of emails that are coming in every day and that are, people are screaming at you. So you want to stand out above the noise. Definitely want to optimize it for mobile. So keep your subject line, the curiosity, the urgency, the questions, but make sure that it's optimized for mobile. And open rates for recipients when they're personalized. With personalization, it's 18.3%. Without personalization, it drops down to 15.7%. So you're going to increase your open rate if you've got the recipient's name in the subject line. And then a couple of tips on email marketing. Send emails from your name, not from a company or a business name. It should go out from you. They identify with you. Now, in my case, most everybody knows that, that I've dealt with knows that 800 Biz Ninja Marketing and Gary Wagner are the same, but I still wanted to go with my name dash 800 Biz on there, 800 Biz Ninja Marketing, because I want them to recognize who it's from and not get lost in the shuffle. You want to include some visuals in your emails. That's important. You can plug in infographics. You can plug in photos, graphics. You can use a program like Canva to create a graphic to go in your email. You can create a video, upload your video to YouTube or Vimeo and plug that into your email program as well. And the video is a striking way to do that, because that gets people's attention. We're lazy. We want you to read it to us. Don't make me read it myself. Use your brand voice, balance your personality to your clients. So you want to make sure that you're talking to your client, not at them. So you don't want to use any, jargon, any industry speak, no marketing speak. Don't talk about anything that's pertinent. I don't want to talk about JavaScript and click-through rates, and I don't want to talk about anything like that. I want to talk to like a real person. So I want to tell you that, instead of talking about click-through rate, I'm going to talk about increasing the traffic to your door, to your business. I'm going to talk about getting more return for your time and energies. So talk like a real person, and watch your industry speak. I've used that analogy from we did several carpeting companies in the beginning, early years of our business, and I always said people in the carpet and flooring business talk about floor covering. And I always ask people, when was the last time somebody walked into your store or you went someplace and said, I would like to see your floor covering, please? We don't do that. We do, hey, I want to see carpet. I want to see tile. I want to see vinyl. I want to see whatever, wood. So don't use industry terminology. Use what your client, your customer is asking you. This is key, and not just in your email, but anything you're writing. Write like you're talking to one person, and use the power of you. If you are, when you're creating your email marketing message, I can help you achieve more traffic through your website and through your marketing social media platforms. I'm talking to one person. And when you utilize the power of you instead of me, then it turns that whole subject around and you become much more efficient and effective. You want to include a call to action. So you want to tell people what you want them to do. Do you want them to read more? Do you want them to click here, sign up, subscribe? Tell people what you want them to do. That's important. Right, like a real person. I think we've covered that one already there. So one last tip. There is a really cool, if you're a Gmail user, there is a really cool free tool you can use to send video email. Free video email by Cloud HQ. You can look for that in the Google search, or just do a search for that in Google, and it's an add-on you plug into your Gmail. And then when you go to Gmail to send, when you're ready to write an email, there'll be a camera in the lower right-hand corner, a little camera icon. You click that, it'll record the video, post it in there, and send it. Really cool little tool. It's free. I have used it quite a few times, and it's a great alternative, especially for people that maybe have used BombBomb or something like that. That's a $100 a month thing. Yeah, it doesn't do all the whistles and bells, but for an easy, quick email feature, it's a great little free tool. So those are just some tips I have for you for how to create an effective marketing campaign. I think it's critical. I know Pam's on the webinar, Pam Furlong, and so Pam does she does constant contact and does email marketing for people. And so if you need additional help and maybe something like that, I know you could reach out to Pam, and she would be happy to help you as well and guide you through and train you how to use some of those things. So it's just a critical component, because you can't control anything but your email list. So keep that in mind. If you've got any questions, I'll be happy to take those. Type those in the Q&A box, and I will be more than happy to answer those. As always, I'm going to do these webinars on a weekly basis. I've got a ton of topics to cover. Anywhere from probably one of the next ones I'll be doing will be Google reviews, how to get more reviews to your website. We'll be talking about that. I may be talking about some graphic programs like Canva in the near future, and several different topics. So if there's a particular topic that you would like to see, let me put my poll up here. And I made the poll where you can answer multiples this time. So here is just if you want to pop in some, if you want to answer these, this will give me ideas of what you may want to see in the near future. So let me know anything like that. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer those. If not, if you think of anything after the webinar is over, then feel free to reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to take any questions that you've got and try to help you through it. I just think that the email side of things, we forget about that because we kind of think that email is, oh, well, it's just one of those necessities we got to do, but nobody reads it anymore. And I get so much spam, I don't pay attention to it, but it's not the case. It's an effective marketing tool. So keep that in mind. Let's see here, chat. Anything else? Yeah, so if you do have, Pam also posted in here that she has a 30% offer right now for 3 months. So hers is Arizona Marketing Tools. So if you're interested, you can reach out to Pam. She can help you with that as well. So thank you guys for coming. I appreciate your support, and I will post the replay of this webinar on my Thursday 30 website. Yep. Pam, yeah, here's Pam. Okay, Pam, here's Pam's phone number. Pam, post it to, oh, did you post it to all? Post it to all attendees. You've got it to panelists, but post it to all attendees down there at the bottom. And then that way, anybody that wants Pam's phone number will have it. Once again, thank you guys for coming, and I will see you next week. Hopefully this was good information for you, and we will talk to you then. I'm going to leave the poll up for one more minute, and then, but I'll close the video down. So thank you guys.